Welcome to Dead in the Night. In tonight's stories, we'll be diving into 4 paranormal hauntings. Without further ado, let's get onto the scares. Let me preface this story with this. While I was an imaginative child at the time of this story, I knew at the age of 6 the difference between imaginary and reality. Of course, I had imaginary friends growing up as an only child, but I knew they were just that, imaginary. When I was 6 years old, my mother and I lived in this much bigger house than the 2 of us needed. We called it the big house, and still call it that when talking about our time there. It was a 3-story house. The first floor comprised the kitchen, dining room, and living room. The second floor had 3 bedrooms and a bathroom, and the third floor was just 1 large room. That was my room. It doubled as a bedroom and a playroom because of the size. My room had 2 little cubby doors. One opened to small storage space, the other my mom could never get to open. It had a small oval knob and a keyhole like one of those keyholes meant for those skeleton keys. This is relevant later. I was not only an only child, but I also had no neighborhood kids to play with. No cousins or family friends. I blame this fact on why I'm still socially awkward, but I digress. Up until this mainly sunny day, there had not been any unusual activity in the big house. I'm now 33, and yet the memory of this day is still so clear. I had just got my first ceramic tea set. The set was a creamy white with a delicate pink flower hand painted on each group, even the tiny spoons. I had gathered my 2 favorite childhood toys, a ragdoll named Rattle and a bear with a clown hat named Snuffy. I had snuck down to the bathroom and filled the teapot with water, and I was fixin' to have my first official tea party. I sat in front of the window where the sunbeams landed on the floor. It was fall, and the spot where the sunbeam hit was always the warmest. I played with Snuffy and Rattle for about 10 minutes when I realized while looking down at the tea set, across from me were a pair of light blue shoes. It happened gradually. It's not like they popped into existence. It's more like when you're looking somewhere else, so your brain doesn't register what you're looking at right away, like that. As I looked up, I saw a girl. She was about my age with copper hair and a knee-length blue dress, lace around the neck and hemline. She wore a silver locket around her neck and the blue shoes I had first seen. For some reason, I wasn't scared. I just asked if she wanted to have some tea. She just nodded and sat in front of me. It's only years later that I fully realized she made absolutely no noise doing so. I don't know how long we played. She never spoke. Just nod or shake her head. The only noise she made was a peal of laughter. After this laughter, I heard my mother open the door at the foot of my stairs. She called, "What are you doing up there? I can hear you squealing down in the kitchen." When my mother had opened the door, I had jumped and looked over my shoulder towards the door. When I turned back to look at the girl, she was gone. Her teacup was still full, Snuffy had fallen over, but nothing else had moved. "Just playing with my tea set, Mama." I called down the stairs, still staring at the space in front of me. Again, I was more confused than scared. That is until I heard a squeaking hinge coming from behind me. I whipped around, looking for the sound, and there it was. The door to the cubby that I had watched my mother trying for hours to open was open. It was open just an inch. That's it, an inch. I sat where I was for what felt like an hour, just staring. Part of me was waiting for a monster to come out. It felt weird. My little mind couldn't figure out what had happened. I debated yelling for my mom. Thought maybe cry. Finally, I gathered the courage to walk towards the little cubby door slowly. Inside was a very tiny space, maybe 3 FT by 3 FT and 4 FT high. There were some old newspapers and debris from years of being untouched. Then I saw a small ring on the floor, not one you wear, like an old door knocker. I pulled it. As it opened, I heard something slide across the hatch. Once the hatch was opened, I looked down into the little door. I was looking down into my bathroom linen closet. I laughed. Even at 6, I realized I had been spooked by a cubby that just had a secret door to the bathroom. As I was looking down, I heard my mother come into the bathroom. So I waited for her to pass the closet, and I yelled, "Boo." I swear she almost fainted. She opened the closet and started, "You little," but she trailed off. From above, I watched her looking all around the lower shelves of the cabinet, which made me giggle. Finally, she looked up in surprise, which caused me to slam my little hatch closed. As it approached, I saw what had slid off the hatch. It was a silver locket. Moments after I had closed the hatch, my mom was running up the stairs yelling my name. She asked me how I had opened it. So I told her what I had just said to all of you. I remember the dumbfounded look she had at the end as I held up the silver locked, slightly tarnished and covered in dust. After that, weird stuff happened all the time in that house. We would wake up in the morning with every kitchen cabinet open. The water turned on. Faraway sounding giggles. The washer started with no one near it. Nothing that bothered my mom, strangely. I kept the necklace until I lost it in 5th grade. I never saw the girl again. In our basement the same month we moved, I had seen one other aberration, ghost, spirit, or whatever you want to call them. My mother and I lived in this house alone. Keep that in mind. I tried to blow bubbles, and the giant jug of bubbles was kept on the basement stairs. I went to get it, and when I bent down to grab them, I could see our washer and dryer. Standing in front of them was a tall, balding man with black hair, a half-unbuttoned plaid shirt, and what appeared to me was black dress pants. When I saw him, he looked directly at me, and then was gone. I have a few more weird stories from the big house. Maybe I'll share them later. Until then, have an excellent spooky season, everyone. Well, the fact that I don't like sharing my stories is because I don't want to attract any bad medicine from those who practice black magic. In other words, real skinwalkers. Where I stay, there are a good number of them running around out there. Sometime they bother me or my family. I would know I listen to some of them running around while the neighborhood dogs cry and howl around. I've seen a couple with my own eyes, and I never want to see any more again. First, we have to know what are skinwalkers and who are they. Skinwalkers come from the Navajo tribe. They are humans that practice black magic and shapeshift into any animal they want. Mostly you see them when they want you to see them. All skinwalkers are Navajo, but not all Navajos are skinwalkers, just to make it clear. They will follow you home if they find you attractive. They mostly go after women because they are easy to manipulate. Most of the women gone missing were last seen with a Navajo man. Skinwalkers also like to take newborn babies for their sacrifice if they couldn't kidnap a woman. If a skinwalker really wanted you, it will even follow you to the city. My cousin's seen some staying with women who have no clue they have an extra guest in the house. They like to look in your window and watch you sleep. You will know one is there because you will dream about it. Sometimes they will tap of your window to wake you up, only to see them standing there looking at you. If you're a woman and you happen to be in a bar with Navajo men, be on the lookout for the one that follows you around and tries to play with your hair. That's how they use their black magic with your hair, saliva, or anything that is a part of you. Kinda like witchcraft. A lot of women go missing because skinwalkers follow them home and use their magic to take them to wherever that thing cave is. Here was my first encounter with one. I was around 10 years old when I was staying the night with my little brother and 2 cousins at my grandma's house. We got done eating dinner when it was about 9 p.m. when we were getting our beds ready to go to sleep. We wanted to stay up, so we started watching Lion King on VHS. My brother and 2 cousins started playing around, and my grandma yelled at them and told them to never play at night or something is gonna wanna play with you. It already knows there are skeptics, and honestly, I don't blame you. However, these things did happen to my family and me. We've all had experiences in some form or another. So, Let's go back to the days of my childhood home, my grandparents' home. The first story happened when I was very young. I don't remember the exact age, and I don't want to lie, but I couldn't have been older than 10. There was a neighbor that lived a few houses from us. Let's call him Mr. Johnson. He had to pass our home to get to his. He was an older gentleman that I saw pretty often. He'd visit us, play games with my grandfather, and all around sit down and have a friendly chat with my grandparents to pass the time. Another Saturday had come. I was sitting on the front porch, playing by myself as usual, and like every Saturday, I saw our lovely Mr. Johnson, all dressed in white, walking past our home to his. I don't remember if I said hi or not, but I remember telling my mom a bit after, "Oh Mom, I saw Mr. Johnson today." My mom looked at me in utter confusion. "Kimberly, are you sure it's Mr. Johnson you saw?" my mother asked. "Yes, Mom, I just saw him walk past our house." My mom then knelt and explained to me that Mr. Johnson had died some days ago. This was the first time death was explained to me, and she took her time to explain what I had seen. My mother never hid these things from me because she didn't want me to be scared, and I genuinely appreciate that. Another time that something paranormal happened, all started from a strange but vivid dream I had. In the plan, there was an older woman. She wore an old-fashioned white dress, and she had a white head wrap on as well. In the dream, it felt like she was leading me to a place where I often played. You see, my grandfather had a large farm, and our home was in front of it. My grandfather built a swing set for me under a huge mango tree on that farm in the backyard. I loved that swing set, and daily, I would play there. In the dream, the same woman led me to the spot where my swing was. Eerily in the dream, she seemed to have walked into the earth, like someone walking willingly into quicksand. As soon as I woke up, I told my mom, who then told my grandparents. You see, my grandparents explained that our house was a family home, and most of our ancestors were buried there, including my great-grandparents. So essentially, our house was built on a burial ground, and my swing, that I played on daily and loved so dearly, was over a grave. There have been so many things that happened to me while growing up there, but I don't remember ever being frightened, since I was the only grandchild who lived in the house at the time. Maybe that's why I never felt scared, because I was never in any danger there. Perhaps my ancestors just loved the idea of a child being there, and thought they needed to keep me company because I was lonely. And maybe that's why I always saw so many strange things. Perhaps I'll write about these experiences if you guys want to read about them. So blurry. I once had a theft. I live in Wisconsin. For the most part, it's fantastic. It's gorgeous year-round, and I've always felt safe here. But one of my friends begs to differ. For privacy reasons, I'll call him Ryan. Ryan's been my best friend for 7 years now. We met during 4th grade, and when the popular game Five Nights at Freddy's came out, we started talking about it. And now, 7 years later, we're still great friends. He recently told me a story that happened a few years ago. He didn't want to talk to me about it and waited so long because of the nightmares he had. So Ryan was home alone at his house with his family friend. I'll call them Finn. Finn and Ryan were playing video games on the PS3 in his mom's room. It was roughly 9:30 p.m. It was pitch black outside. Ryan and his family are lock freaks. They keep everything locked, and by everything, I mean everything. All the doors that could lead outside, the windows, even on the 2nd story, and they have screwdriver holders for their rooms to lock it. While Ryan and Finn were playing Little Big Planet in his mom's room, Finn stopped playing. Ryan looked at Finn, confused. He asked Finn what was wrong, what happened, the usual when something like this would happen. What Finn told Ryan would forever haunt him. Finn told Ryan that as he went to pick up his glass of water on the table next to his mom's bed, he saw someone or something. Finn could say that he saw a black figure step out of Ryan's mom's closet and float away. Both frightened, Ryan and Finn picked up the spare bats in each room and checked everywhere. This was when their fight or flight response kicked in, and they chose war. The thing is, nobody was there. The windows were locked. The basement and attic were clear, so was every other room in the house. But the doors were still closed. They both locked the bedroom door and waited for Ryan's mom to come home. They told her about everything when they did, and they all searched the house again. Nothing. Not even the dust was disturbed. Everything looked normal. The thing that confirms the paranormal aspect is that both the back and front doors have bells on them to signal when someone opens the door. It'd be physically impossible to open the door without the bells making noise. This experience has kept Ryan and Finn up late at night. If you enjoyed the stories and my narration, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out a ton. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and keep your eyes out for unadulterated horror narrated by yours truly. Stay scared, everyone.